Hi everyone, this is Annamorfidis with Mending Hearts Counseling, and this is going to be part 2 of my series on how to stop chasing love. So I made a video, you can find it in my video content. I'm wearing the exact same outfit, so it's easy to spot, on why do we chase in the first place. So I explain all that in that video, what it means to be a chaser, where that comes from, the emotions that generate the feelings and the behavior, which is chasing someone. All that is explained, and once we understand it, then we can start to do something different, and this is how we do something different. What worked for me is gratitude. Every time somebody comes into your life that brings out these feelings out of you, feelings of abandonment, feelings of rejection, feelings of being left behind, feelings of unworthiness, the first thing that we need to acknowledge is gratitude for that person, because they are brought into your life for a reason. And we know that unless we heal a particular wound, it will show up in a different face, but it will continue to show up. So if you are feminine and you are dating and you keep finding yourself in this position where you are constantly being abandoned, ghosted, left behind, your masculine finds himself withdrawing from you, and all these things, it means that you have not healed your wound yet. And even if you move on to another relationship, that wound is still going to be there. So you're going to continuously experience the same thing, just from a different face. So we give gratitude to this person for showing us this in the first place. Step number 1, I am so grateful for you, Joe Doe, for showing me that I am feeling not good enough. I am bound to be rejected. I am feeling I am unworthy. I am bound to be alone. I am good enough. I am unlovable. So, and I'm looking at this list over here. It's a list of cognitive distortions. This is the whole basis of cognitive behavioral therapy. These core beliefs were created within us when we were children. When we are between the ages of 0 to about 11 years old, we don't have the capacity. Our frontal cortex does not develop fully until we're 24 years old. So up until the age of 11, we don't understand and we cannot decipher or rationalize why a parent is not, or parents are not able to be present with us. Say they were too busy working, or say they had their own wounds that they were trying to heal. Say that they were depressed or alcoholics, or one of them died. For whatever reason that your primary caregiver or caregivers were not able to be there for you, therefore you felt abandoned and had an anxious attachment style, because you were not met with the 4 basic needs, which is safety. You need to be safe, seen, secure, and soothed when you're a child in order to have, a positive self-view and a secure attachment style. So about 35 to 40% of us have a non-secure attachment style, either avoidant or anxious or disorganized attachment style. That's about 35 to 40% of us, which means we have a negative self-view because we were not seen as children, we were not soothed, we were not secure, and we were not safe. So that can come in many different ways. My experience, I was abused physically and emotionally and sexually, so there's no safety as a child. I was never good enough, it felt like, because whatever I ever did, I would get criticized and get in trouble for, and I strived for perfection, and still that was never good enough. I was never told I love you, words of encouragement, none of that. So I interpreted life as a child. Now I make that mean that it's all my fault, because if my mom was not able to give me what I needed, because she didn't even finish elementary school, so she had no education. She was raised by a stepmom who's quite abusive to them, so that's what she knew. Her father had abandoned because he was, this was in the 40s, and he was fighting World War II. So there was all these outside circumstances that made her who she is. She didn't mean to be this way. That's what she knew, and that's what she did. But I was a product of that. And because children do not understand the difference between, hey, my mom grew up with a stepmom, she doesn't know how to be a parent that can provide safety, security, and soothness, because they don't even know about that. I just internalized that as, this is my fault. There's something wrong with me. And therefore, this is how our core beliefs are shaped of, I am unlovable. I am unlikable. I am not good enough to be loved by others. I am bound to be abandoned. I am unworthy. These are the things that anxious attachment people have predominantly running within their hard drive. So when you wake up in the morning and you're stretching your arms and you're doing your thing, this is what you're saying to yourself every day subconsciously. So it is of no wonder that you're going to start to experience that in your outer world, because your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions are energy emotion, which create your quantum field around you. And like attracts like, so you're going to attract, so your thoughts are, I am a failure, I am not good enough, I am unlovable, I am defective, I am unworthy, I am not good enough to be loved by others. These thoughts are going to create emotions of, where's my emotions wheel? Here. Insecurity, anxiousness, scared, inadequate, inferior, worried, frightened, empty, depressed, lonely, abandoned, isolated, all these horrible feelings. Actually, I don't want to call them horrible. Non-serving feelings that will call in for more of those experiences. And that's how you create relationships where you find yourself to be chasing, because they abandon you, because that is your personal reality. Like Joe Dispenza says, your personality creates your personal reality. So your predominant thoughts that come from your core beliefs, because your core beliefs generate your thoughts, will create your emotions. Your emotions are energy in motion. And those will create the quantum field around you. And like attracts like, and you're going to attract more of that experience. And we can change that by changing our thoughts. So cognitive behavioral therapy has 10 different methods actually to change our thoughts. And I have my notes over here from school. So say you have an all or nothing thinking that you are bound to be rejected. Well, the good thing is that cognitive behavioral therapy can identify that distortion, because that is a distortion. That isn't really true. Just because that happened to you when you were a child does not mean that this is who you are today. And maybe your parents had their own wounds, or like I said before, they had to work, or they didn't have the education, or all these other things to not be able to give you what you needed as a child. And we all have wounds and traumas. No child escapes any sort of, even the ones that are securely attached, there's going to be some sort of wounding there and or trauma that they have to deal with. It's just part of being a human being, and that's okay too if you have a little bit more than others. So cognitive behavioral therapy, you're going to identify the distortion, examine the evidence, and then do an experimental technique. Does that actually really stand in your life today? Once you know that your thoughts create your emotions, and then your emotions create your behaviors, can that not be changed? Yes, it can be changed, because we have the power to choose our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We listen to our thoughts. Our thoughts are the ones that are basically just sort of shown, or they come in based on our past experiences. And then we have a choice to either listen to them or let them go. So with cognitive behavioral therapy, we simply just reaffirm the opposite. And opposite affirmations sound like, I am lovable, I am worthy, I am adequate, I am good enough as I am always bound to be accepted, I am a success, I am competent, I am always good enough, I am likable, I am desirable. So basically, you want to integrate this new thought pattern into your system so that can be running your hard drive each and every day when you wake up in the morning, in order for you to create a different set of emotions. Because imagine what beautiful emotions will be created from those thoughts, and what beautiful feelings will be created from those emotions, feeling accepted, loved, desired. Therefore, that's going to be your quantum field, and therefore you're going to attract more of that. Another way to heal these types of chasing, I don't want to say issues, tendencies, is inner child work. So this is more of like the psychology / counseling point of view. And then energy work also works basically in the same way. So cognitive behavioral therapy is a process that you do short term, and it's goal oriented, and it is focused on problem solving that particular thought, and is highly structured. So you have to be structured and diligent in you affirming to yourself the opposite thought that is coming from your core belief. And those thoughts were, I am good enough, I am lovable, I am worthy, I am adequate, I am always accepted, I am bound to be accepted, I am bound to be desired. All these things are to be affirmed on a daily basis, constantly, because it takes at least 21 days to rewire your system. This is a really important part. That's why you have to continuously do the work until it becomes part of your being and your belief system, your new belief system about yourself, your new personality, which will create your new personal reality. Thank you, Joe Dispenza, for that. Okay, I'm going to go back to mirror work. Inner child healing. I did mirror work by Louise Hay. This is also based on a 21-day program, because this is really important to stick to it. And this basically takes you through a 21-day program where you literally speak to your inner child, and you give it what your parent was not able to do through visualizations. Your brain does not know the difference between reality and fiction. You can give yourself the corrective experience just by visualizing it. Sorry, it doesn't know the difference between visualization and or reality. Either way, if you feel that emotion and you create that picture, you can integrate that into your system and give to yourself the experience that your parent was not able to give you. So if you needed more hugs and kisses and your parent to say, I love you, you do that through inner child healing. You visualize yourself through meditation and visualization, and perhaps journaling as well. There's some journaling in here as well. You give yourself that experience to your inner child. So you give yourself what you needed to feel those needs, so you stop being in lack. You have the power to do that as an adult. The other thing that I really like to use outside of the mirror work by Louise Hay is her power thought cards. These are also affirmations. These are really beautiful. And this is a great way to affirm to yourself a beautiful emotion and or feeling, as opposed to a negative one that comes from our core beliefs that were created when we were children. So I'm just going to pull one today. Okay, this is a beautiful one. I forgive myself. How many times have I held myself in a state of shame and guilt? Oh, how could I how could I do this? How could I do that? How could I have behaved this way? Or how could I have been so needy? How could I have been so too much? How could I have been so much? Or how could I have been this? How could I have been that? Like, forgive yourself. Who cares if you were acting out of your wounds and your abandonment issues? At the end of the day, we all have them. It's not like you did it on purpose to hurt someone. Forgive yourself. It's okay. And then the beautiful thing that says on the other side is, as I forgive myself, I leave behind all feelings of not being good enough, and I am free to love myself. That's right. And when you love yourself, others will too. When you forgive yourself for being too needy, or thinking that you're too needy, you're thinking that you're being too much, that you were calling someone too much, you were texting too much, you were doing too much. If you forgive yourself, that person will forgive you too. You think they don't know? Of course they know. We're all connected in this life together, and that's a beautiful thing. And every single day, it's a different opportunity to live your life differently. So if you think that everything is okay, so will they. If you forgive yourself for your actions that you think reflected your states of being in fear and or sadness, where you act worried and anxious and insecure, if you forgive yourself, they will too. That's how it works. You create your personal reality with your personality. So let it go. These are beautiful ways to also change your mood. I'm going to stop my video right here. And this is part 2 of the series. This is how to heal chasing tendencies. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please do reach out to me. My comment box below, email me, DM me. Everything is linked everywhere. Like my channel, subscribe if you feel called to do so. Thank you so much for everything. I wish you so much healing and love and gratitude. And I send your inner child so much love and healing today. So many hugs, so many kisses. You've got this. You can give it all it is that it has ever wanted. And in my 3rd and last video of this series, I'm going to talk about how we acquired those in the first place, which I kind of talked a little bit about it in this video, but I'm just going to recap it in the next one. So I will see you there.